I don't even know where to go to on this story. The House Select Committee on Chinese Communist Party has released a 1,700-page report, or maybe it was 1,700 pages of reports from U.S. universities where they collaborated with Chinese universities on researching things for the Pentagon. You heard that right. Our military funds were being sent to U.S. universities in which they were collaborating with Chinese universities to research things on a military nature. In other words, we were helping strengthen the Chinese military with our funds from the Department of Defense. Well, now the Department of War. Whatever you want to call it. Now you tell me how that makes any sense whatsoever. Now I got a report here. It's coming from military.com. Um, I guess it was originally from the Associated Press. And I'm going to read off some of this stuff to you. I'm going to put a link down below so you can actually research this story. It's sickening in all kinds of ways. If you want to hear more about the silliness of this government, and on all levels, hit like and subscribe because I covered this sorts of thing. So here we go. Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself. So, over a recent 2-year period, the Pentagon funded hundreds of projects done in collaboration with universities in China and institutes linked to that nation's defense industry, including many blacklisted by the U.S. government for working with Chinese military, a congressional investigation has found. The report, released Friday by House Republicans on the Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, argues that the projects have allow China to exploit U.S. research partnerships for military gains while the two countries are locked in a tech and arms rivalry. Uh, the Pentagon did not immediately respond to questions on this. The congressional report said some officials at the Defense Department argued research should remain open as it is neither controlled nor classified. The report makes several recommendations to scale back U.S. research collaboration with China. It also backs new legislation proposed by the committee's chairman, Representative John Mulinar from Michigan. The bill would prohibit any Defense Department funding from going to projects done in collaboration with researchers affiliated with Chinese entities that the U.S. government identifies as safety risk. Beijing has in the past said science and technological cooperation between the two countries is mutually beneficial and helps them cope with global challenges. The Chinese embassy did not immediately respond to the comment. Okay, it's an 80-page report, it's 1,400 research pages. There we go. The 80-page report builds on the committee's findings last year that partnerships between the U.S. and Chinese universities over the past decade allowed hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funding to help Beijing develop critical technology. Amid pressure from the Republicans, several universities have ended their joint programs with Chinese schools in recent years. New report focuses more narrowly on the Defense Department and its billions of dollars in annual research funding. The committee's investigations identified 1,400 research papers published between June 2023 and June 2025 that acknowledge support from the Pentagon and were done in collaboration with Chinese partners. The publications were funded by some 700 defense grants worth more than $2.5 billion. Of the 1,400 publications, more than half involved organizations affiliated with Chinese defense research and industrial base. Dozens of these organizations were flagged for potential security concerns on U.S. government lists though federal law does not prohibit research collaborations with them. The Defense Department money supported research in fields including hypersonic technology, semiconductors, artificial intelligence, advanced materials, and next generation propulsion. Many of the projects have clear military applications, according to the report. In one case, a nuclear scientist at Carnegie Science, a research institution in Washington, worked extensively on Pentagon-backed research while holding appointments at Chinese Academy of Sciences and the Hefei Institute of Physical Sciences. The scientist, who has done research on high-energy materials, nitrogen, and high-pressure physics, all of which are relevant to nuclear weapons development, has been honored in China for his work to advance the country's national development goals, the report said. It called this case a deeply troubling example of how Beijing can leverage U.S. taxpayer-funded research to further its weapons development. In another Pentagon-backed project, Arizona State University and University of Texas partnered with researchers at Shanghai Jiao Tong University and Beihang University to study high-stakes decision-making in uncertain environments, which has direct applications for electronic warfare and cyber defense, the report said. The money came from the Office of Naval Research, the Army Research Office, and the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Shanghai University is under the supervision of a central Chinese agency tasked with developing defense technology, and Beihang University, in the capital city of Beijing, is linked to the People's Liberation Army and known for its aerospace programs. So, yeah, basically that's what's going on with your taxpayer dollars. You have to explain to me why anybody in this country would think that it is fine to work on military applications with Chinese organizations. Anybody with common sense are well aware of the fact that every part of that government is linked to the Communist Party. For that matter, if you are in this country, if it's anything dealing with the government, you know there are way too many bureaucrats that are linked to the Democrat Party, so why would a Republican back anything that is supposedly good for them, that you would deal with the bureaucrats? This is the headache that is going on in this country. We have been kissing the rear ends of the Chinese for way too long, and it's time that we stop doing that. This is spending money, it's allowing research to go to, and causing untold damage, all in the name of so-called science. Yes, I'm well aware that quite a bit of this has scientific applications, but while, yes, some of it will have civilian uses, it really won't have uses that will help Americans if China decides, or its allies for that matter, if China decides to go on the offensive. You've already heard that China has been sending help to the Russians in the war in Ukraine. The Chinese have been doing interesting things in Africa. They have made no qualms about saying that they're willing to have complete control of rare earths that are so necessary in so many things nowadays, including having 10% of the company that the U.S. military, the rare earths company that the U.S. military just bought a large chunk into. This is what's going on in the world, and yet nobody in Congress or any part of our government seems to understand what each other are doing. This is why there has to be some oversight. This is why we need things like Doge. This is why we need people that are trying to clear away the swamp. But hey, this is just some redneck screaming out for some stupidity to end. This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. So, folks, that's the story that I wanted to bring you on this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for coming by. Well, hit like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff if you don't mind. Help me out. So, y'all have a good day now.